Happy Thursday. It's a glorious Thursday. There's a good chance I won't do a video tomorrow because I'm going camping. That being said, my final video of the week is I really want to spread awareness to the issues of drugs because it's not just the homeless person, it's not just the loser in the mother's basement or father's basement. This really affects everyone. And there needs to be more awareness of it, the dangers of certain drugs. And I'm not even talking about weed or marijuana. I'm talking about opiates and fentanyl and the hard stuff that we shouldn't be doing. So I was listening to the radio last night, last night, and this came across me, and just wanted to touch base on this. Governor Abbott announces new initiatives to combat opioid crisis at Montgomery County 2020 overdose awareness event. Governor Abbott today, August 28th, delivered remarks on the state's response to efforts to combat drug overdoses and protect the lives of Texans at the 2022 annual Montgomery County Overdose Awareness Day event hosted by the Montgomery County Overdose Prevention Endeavor, MCOPE, which is a good play on the word. In the woodlands, as deadly drugs like fentanyl pour across President Biden's open borders, the governor reiterated that the state of Texas is working to fight the epidemic and announced new initiatives to combat the opioid crisis. Governor Abbott announced that he supports passing a law that would ensure dealers who provide drugs laced with deadly opiates are charged for murder when their product poison innocent Texans. I mean, that seems fair. Even though some of the friends and family members we have honored here tonight are no longer with us, they're never gone, said Governor Abbott. Sadly, this phenomenon can be prevented if we all work together and if our federal government gets serious about protecting its citizens by securing our border. Substance abuse is a lifelong battle for many, and we should muster every tool and every effort to help our fellow Texans negotiate the perils of addiction and emerge a drug-free and healthy. Addressing the crowd of more than 300, Governor Abbott noted that Texas nearly 1,700 fentanyl-related deaths were reported in 2001 alone. As a part of an ongoing effort to combat the epidemic, the governor signed a law last year that would increase criminal penalties for making or distributing fentanyl. Governor Abbott announced a new initiative to combat drug overdoses in Texas, such as expanding the opiate overdose treatment of Narcan so more Texans have access to life-saving drug and exploring a coordinated statewide substance abuse recovery program. The governor also presented MCOPE with a proclamation of recognizing August 30th as International Overdose Awareness Day. Prior to addressing the event's attendees, Governor Abbott met with MCOPE Director Sarah Hall, Sherry Bolton, Kathy Posey, and Kim Roslowski, who have each lost a son to an accidental overdose, to discuss their organization on ongoing effort to combat drug overdose and help those who have lost loved ones to overdose. The governor is joined at the event of the Montgomery County Judge Wayne Mack, County Lieutenant Brian Lully, and County Sheriff Rand Henderson. MCOPE is an advocate group of parents, spouses, siblings, children, and friends who have been affected in some way by overdose. MCOPE educates and brings awareness to substance use disorders and growing overdose death to help prevent drug-related loss in the community. Now, when I was listening to the radio on KLBJ, a caller called in. I only got it was a very, very long interview process with this caller, and I don't know what he did, but he pretty much called in and said that this is a lifelong disease and it's going to take the long approach in order to combat it because you need to have a drug rehab system in place that allows for the particular person to fail multiple times before actually kicking the habit. Because just spending 6 months in rehab isn't really going to do it. You have to have a support mechanism in place to allow them to come back in certain milestones of being clean, to allow them to not necessarily be re-educated, but more of a booster into the program. And this is going to be he says it's a lifelong decision. Not everyone can just be like cold turkey, and there needs to be a lot of resources going into this. And I don't know if he mentioned that it should be state funded, but it should be something that either on the local level or a state level should be funded because it's going to cost less to treat these people than it is to treat them in the emergency room because they're not going to be paying for it. The hospitals have to pay for it, which means they get our tax money to stay afloat. But it's he went into in depth and he says that the people that we really need to talk to are the people on the front lines, as the ER doctors and the ER nurses, to get their input because this is a lifelong disease. It's not something that you could just kick the habit in a couple of days. This is something that's going to take years. And we have to acknowledge the fact that just because we tell these people that they could go to rehab, it's not you go to rehab this one time and then once they fail, we throw the book at them. No, he says some of these people try 3, 4, 5, even up to 6 and 7 times before they actually get to the mindset where they're able to finally kick the habit. And I tend to agree with this person's point of view. It's definitely a different perspective that normally doesn't get talked about. Is once you become addicted, then it's a long road. It's a long path to being drug free. Not everybody could just do a 3 week or a 6 month and be clean and live a functional life. Sometimes it does take multiple attempts to become clean, and that's just a different perspective I haven't really heard someone bring up. But of course, the best way to beat the addiction is to never start in the first place. But unfortunately, that's not really an option for a lot of Americans out there, a lot of Texans out there. So we have to deal with the repercussions of that. And while we do this, we could also help people that are homeless, get them off the streets into rehab to get their lives back together and give them structure, give them a reason to not be homeless. I think it's a multi-part solution, or it's going to be a multi solution to a lot of issues that we're seeing, especially when it comes to homeless. Because a lot of homeless people are on these drugs. A lot of people are homeless because of these drugs. And if they're able to kick the habit, they can become members of society that actually produce something for the community, whether they're paying taxes, they have a job, they're able to rent or buy a house because they're not addicted to the drugs. They're able to become fully members and do something, do a service to the community. And I think we definitely need to look at that approach when it definitely comes to the homeless issue. I'm not saying that's going to solve all of homeless issues because I've had debates about this. Well, maybe not debates, more of open thought discussions. And there's many paths to homelessness, but drug related is a good portion of them. And I just want to bring awareness that hopefully Governor Abbott does more than just charge your drug dealers. We definitely need to look at the victims, the ones that are addicted, and get them the help that they need. And maybe you have to change the laws to where you kind of forcefully nudge these people into rehab. Maybe if a cop sees someone that's on drugs, instead of just throwing them in jail, that the laws are put in a way to where they understand they're not in their right mind, and they go into rehab. They go into a 6 month program to help kick the habit, and then allow them to fail over and over and over until they do kick the habit. Because I do think that their approach is, this is a difficult disease, and it's, we gotta treat it more like cancer or more like another life threatening disease or life changing disease, where we have to allow these people, or mechanics, have mechanics in place to allow them to fail, and know that while failure may not be the end result, but there should be some room for failure, saying it's not the end of the world. We'll get you back into the program for a couple more months to get you straight, and then we have follow up meetings. I think this person said maybe a week or 2 weeks after you get out of it, allow you to come back for 3 more days, and just slowly increase the time in between, just as a refresher, a booster, to make sure that everything is okay with them, to make sure that they're welcome. And then, pretty sure I'm not doing this guy any service, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say, because I do think we have to address this. Because I think actually, I don't think, I actually know from reports that fentanyl deaths is the leading cause of death in America between all ethnic backgrounds and age groups, whether it's the 12-year-old or the 65-year-old. Fentanyl is killing people more than any other leading causes of death. And that's something that should terrify everyone. With that being said, leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. And if you are addicted to fentanyl or any other drugs, I encourage you to get the help that you need, because I do understand that it is a disease, and hopefully you can become drug free. And also, please smash the like and subscribe button on any and all platforms, or just the platform that you're currently on. With that being said, most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.